So we're at the festival at Sandpoint tonight, and the festival has a well-publicized ban on entering the festival with firearms. And I have a ticket to see At Brothers tonight with my friend Jeff. And Jeff is going to be open carrying a firearm. And we have basically communicated with the festival this week, and we'll see how it goes here at the gate. Hopefully, we've communicated with the city. The city of Sandpoint is the property owner of this public park. This public park is Memorial Field in Sandpoint, Idaho. It's part of one big piece of property owned by the city of Sandpoint, listed under their Parks and Recreation Department. Before we go in, I actually want to talk about what the law is in regards to bearing firearms on any public property. Basically, the state owns the field when it comes to firearm regulation and law. So what Idaho Code Section 18-3302J says is that whatever the state law is on firearm carry is what the law is everywhere in the state of Idaho, regardless of which political subdivision you're in. So if you're in the city of Sandpoint or Bonner County, it basically is the same whether you're in Ada County or Canyon County. Now, we've seen in the news recently, going down to Canyon County Fair, Greg Pruitt with the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance basically went to the county fair. He tried to enter the county fair. People were being told there that's public property. It's a ticketed admission, and they were being told there that they couldn't carry a weapon into the property, and it turned out the county fair capitulated. So the basis for this is that in Idaho Code, the only places where there is prohibited carry of firearms of any law-abiding citizen is in schools, courthouses, and juvenile detention facilities and jails. That's it. Now, the city of Sandpoint has been notified of our position. Now, think about what our position is. Our position is that we are a Republican form of government. We're guided by a constitution of the state of Idaho and of the United States government. Now, our constitution in the Second Amendment says that the people have a right to keep and bear arms without that right being infringed. And the state of Idaho Constitution in Section 11, Article 1 says that the people have that same right without that right being abridged. So the state of Idaho legislature has implemented a code that basically respects those rights and gives leeway to law-abiding citizens to carry firearms. Now, the issue is one of Article 1, Section 1 of the Idaho Constitution, which basically shows what our unalienable rights are. Those are the rights given by God, and those rights actually include the right to life, but also to secure safety. Now, the Supreme Court of the United States, in actually multiple decisions, has rendered an opinion that the police have no obligation to secure the safety of any individual citizen. So our position is simply that Idaho law says that law-abiding citizens can carry firearms into a public park, and that I'm shooting the other way, and that that right may not be abridged, and that a law-abiding citizen carrying a firearm is actually a first responder. A firearm is a tool to ensure liberty and public safety and to provide security. It's a love your neighbor issue. So our position is that these are tools. I have tools in my pocket like car keys that start a car. I have credit cards to help me purchase things at the store. These are all tools of law-abiding citizens. Particular tools, first aid kits, and those sorts of things help not only myself but also help others. Now, my concern and my care here is that we have public property that I actually help pay for. Memorial Field has a new grandstand. We pay a 1% city tax to the city of Sandpoint that helped fund the grandstand. When we bought the tickets, there's a city park fee included in the ticket price. And so the point is this is public property. The city's position is that they have allowed a lessee to lease this property for this event. And in that case, they say we let the lessee basically dictate the rules. The only problem is that's fine if this is private property, but it's not private property, it's the people's property, it's public property. And therefore the law, the actual law says that you can't dictate a rule whereby a person is denied their constitutional right to speak or to wear the t-shirt they want or to carry a firearm. And that's the most important right here as far as securing safety that we're challenging tonight. So we've communicated with the city, and we're just going to go up and find out what the situation is going to be at the gate. I've got my tickets to the At Brothers, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes down. I'll reverse the camera, and we'll see how this happens here. Okay, you're the camera person. Hey Jeff, you ready to roll? Hey Jeff, we're ready.
You got my ticket?
Yeah, I do. Here's your ticket. So we're going to enjoy the Avett Brothers. Stay close on camera. And this is actually going to take a little while probably to roll in the rest of this line.
Byron and Associates, Wells Fargo, the William Wishnick Foundation,
That happened to me. I was selling something for my dad, and he was like, "You can keep all the profits."
My Motors Company,
So you're supposed to go get your eyes checked.
Nelson, CHTV, Bob and Patty Bell, Steve and June Temple, Chris and Jenny Campbell, Peter Management Company, Dr. Doug in Oklahoma.
Okay, for a microphone.
Each person holding their own tickets, please. Thank you.
What's that?
Each person holds on their own tickets.
Okay, got it. Yep.
My son and his. Oh, that's the express line over there. Okay.
Yes, you'll find it.
Okay. Thanks.
You can stay on this line, and then you'll get to there, and they'll
Oh, they're waiting.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, that's banned. Banned with Sandpoint.
No coolers or no backpack express, the lane on the left.
Coolers, backpacks, bags. This is for those with coolers, backpacks, chairs, and bags.
Okay, now we're gonna hold you out because they got locked up. Sure, thank you. No worries.
And you'll come all the way up with
Which side? All the way to the side?
Sorry, guys. Ready for the weekend? I know, finally. Feels like forever to get Alrighty. And you want to bring your bag? Yeah.
Just a quick check. Thank you.
Alright, any more
Yeah. Good, how are you? Thank you.
Hey, Chris.
You get back, get you? Sorry, sir, no sidearms. Well, hopefully. Are you aware that that violates Idaho law?
That would have to be taken up with our event crew.
Okay, take it up with the event crew.
Mark.
How's it going, guys?
Good.
So, festival has a rule, no weapons within the venue. So, two options here. You can take it secured in your vehicle, or we can take you over and refund your money to you.
Okay. And can you state the law by which you are basing it?
I've read all your emails. I know exactly what you're saying.
So can you state the law then?
I'm not going to.
And is there any
I'm not
particular
going
reason
to.
why you won't state the law?
I've read your emails for the interest of getting people into the park safely.
And what's your name?
I'm just telling you, my name's Mark.
Okay.
I'm
What's
just
your last
telling
name,
you,
Mark?
OGG.
OGG, okay.
I'm telling you, no weapons inside the
So
venue.
Idaho State Code says that it's a public park,
Okay.
and the people have the right to bear
I'm not
arms.
going to argue it with you. Okay.
No,
I've
but
read your emails.
you have to say the law though. In order
I've read
in
your
order to
emails.
take a position.
I've read your emails.
have
I'm not going to go into it
If you
further.
read the
I know what you're
email,
saying.
then you should be able to explain what the
Okay.
law is.
Okay. Listen to what I'm saying. Okay. Two options. Take your weapon back to your vehicle, secure it in your vehicle, enjoy the night. If you're not going to do that, we will escort you over to the ticket booth and we'll refund your money. Those are your two options.
And if we insisted on our lawful right to enter the festival, then what would
I will trespass you from the venue. If you enter through the gates, you will be escorted back out. If you refuse to leave, you will be cited for trespassing.
Okay, so we would be cited if we went ahead and lawfully entered the festival with our
You will be
firearms.
trespassing. I'm telling you right now. If you enter with your firearms, you will be trespassed.
Can you please explain me the lawful basis for
No.
the prohibition?
No.
Do you have a lawful basis for
I'm not going to get into it.
Do you have a lawful basis for the prohibition?
Your two options.
You know we live in a Republican
Your
form
two
of
options.
government, right?
Your two options.
You know we live in a Republican form of government, right? So a Republican
You wanna
form of
listen to what I'm
government is
saying?
guided by a constitution.
Your two options
And
are
our
return
legislature
your
is the
return
body
your
of
weapon to your
people that
vehicle.
basically decide what the laws are going to be. You understand that, right? And that this is not private
Are
property.
you listening to what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying,
Those
but
are
I
your
care
two
about
options.
the law. I care
Those
about
are
the
your
law.
two options.
You should give a
You
law.
can.
sir.
You can.
Can you give a law?
You can
I just
discuss
want to know
that
if
later.
you know a law.
You can discuss that later.
So is it arbitrary and capricious?
You can discuss that later.
If
I'm
we were
telling you your
black, would
options.
you let us into the
Let me
festival?
get the police officers. They could deal with it.
Okay, go ahead and get a police officer. That'd be great. Thank you. Maybe they can explain the law. We'll see if they know the law.
Not here to explain it to you.
No, but you
telling
have
you-
to because you can't
No,
violate
I
the
don't
law
have to.
unless you have the law on
I
your
don't
side.
have to.
What makes you a law
I'm
breaker?
telling you, you need to take your
Well,
weapon
someone
back to your
needs to
vehicle,
explain.
or you need to get your money back.
Someone needs to explain. Okay.
We're refusing to leave.
Well, I'm not refusing to leave. I'm asking him to explain the law that allows the prohibition of firearms in the public park. That's what I'm asking.
Well, as long as you're not past the gate, you're not my issue.
So what I'm asking him to do is explain the law. And so I'm hoping that someone here
And
can
what
explain
I'm
the
telling
law.
you is I'm not here to explain the law to you. I'm telling you what the rules are per the festival.
Who
You
makes
can
the
take-
rules?
You can take
Do you
your
have a
weapon.
written policy?
It's made by the festival.
Can you show me a written
Nope,
policy?
I don't have it on me.
Do you make it up at the moment? Like, I didn't see any written policy on your website when I bought my tickets to the David Brothers. So I didn't sign a contract agreeing to this. I'm just wondering who makes these rules and where I can actually see this policy, and if the city
Online.
attorney has reviewed the policy since it's
Online.
his property.
It's online.
Is the city attorney's review of the policy and its lawfulness documented anywhere that I could see that? I'd like to be assured that you guys are obeying the law.
Ask him.
Are you the city attorney? Are you the city attorney? It's public property. I looked it up. It's-
Private property right now because it's leased. It's just
The-
like that cell tower in there.
Yeah, actually,
You
no,
can't
it
go
isn't. So
on that
Memorial
cell
Field, I
tower.
looked it up, and it's titled in the city of Sandpoint. It's listed on the city's website as Parks and Recreation Department. What would your name be, sir?
The house over here.
What would your name be, sir?
Will Harrington.
Nice to meet you, Will. So you do understand that the use of a property does not change whether it's public or private property. For example, it just is titled in one entity or another, right?
It's leased out to the festival. They make the rules.
Now, did you have a problem elsewhere in the city when you leased out a park to another entity and you had a problem with the First Amendment?
I wasn't involved in that.
Okay, so in that case, the courts say that just because you lease public property to a lessee does not change the nature of the property. And so in that case, the court said you can't violate the First Amendment. So I'm wondering what other constitutional rights you guys are prepared to violate in your claim, which you haven't been able to provide a law about, in your claim that this is private property, when it indeed is titled as public property.
Well,
Can you give me a law?
it's leased. And
But
lessee
the
has the
Ninth
same
Circuit
rights
said
as
that
other
at least did
private
not
property
change the
owners.
status of the ownership of the venue. So the legislature of the state of Idaho says that we have a right as citizens to secure our safety on public property, including using tools of liberty like a firearm. So what I'm hoping is, being a city, a political subdivision of the state of Idaho, that you're willing to obey the law and provide law of a substantive nature that shows that the law is on your side. Now, are you able to provide me a case, for example, from a court that can show me that the law is on your side in this
I've
question?
looked at the cases. I haven't seen any law that's
So you don't have any case law?
on the other side.
You're not able
There's
to
not
defer.
any case law on your side of this either.
Right, and so, but it is on other constitutional rights. So what I'm wondering is, if we,
And there's a constitutional right to be secure in your own property.
no, and in public property, that's what the law says.
Well, this isn't public property
The
today.
Constitution of the state of Idaho doesn't talk about where you have a right to secure. It's an unalienable right, which means everywhere. But the state of Idaho says that they're able to dictate the field in relation to Section 11 of Article 1. So I'm just wondering if, like, if you don't have any case law, why are you saying that you want this city of Sandpoint to have a legal case to basically adjudicate the matter?
There will be no guns in there.
I mean, have you taken this to the voters and asked them if they want you to spend the taxpayer money to decide the issue? It just seems to me like you could have gotten opinions of some people that maybe would have said they don't want to spend their money on that.
Nope.
Is there any particular reason that the festival has targeted firearms versus different colors of shirts versus other fundamental human rights in relation to coming into the festival?
It's sort of like no shirt, no shoes, no entry.
Okay. So what about color of skin or ethnicity
No.
or whether they're homosexual or straight? Does that matter to you? So why firearms? I'm just curious.
That's up to the festival to decide.
So maybe you could explain
They've
why
decided
firearms
no
and not some other
Well,
issue.
that's what they chose.
Well, why? Do you have a reason?
I'm not the festival.
Well, you represent the festival, right?
I don't represent the board.
I just
I
like to know.
represent gate security that says no firearms are entering this property.
Okay.
You have a
leave,
firearm,
come back
you're not
without
entering
your
the
weapon.
property.
You can go back to the ticket booth and get a refund on your tickets.
Okay.
But you
What is
can't
the
come
city?
in here.
Explain to me what the city's position is going to be, though. If we insisted on our lawful right to entry, would the city use their police force to cite us for trespass and remove us?
I've already told you that.
So the answer is yes. I'd
Yes.
like to hear it from the city.
He will.
I'd like to hear from the city.
Yeah, I'd like to
Mr.
hear it.
Herring.
My understanding that the festival will sign a citizen's complaint
Okay.
against you for trespass.
Okay.
They are the lessees. They're responsible for this property.
So is the city then going to use its authority to then use their police force to basically, because they obviously don't have any lawful right to touch another citizen, but a police officer could have a lawful right. So are you saying you would use your police force to enforce the ban?
If the lessee signs a complaint for trespassing, then my understanding is that that person will be prosecuted under that citation.
Okay. So in other words, if we were to insist on our lawful right to enter tonight, that's how
You
it would
don't
go
have
down.
a lawful right to enter tonight.
Well, I believe we do, but
I
that's
don't
not
believe
the
you do.
but that's
And
not
I'm
the point.
I'm
so
done
if
arguing
we
it.
insisted on our lawful right to enter, you're saying that would be the conclusion of the matter. That's all I need to know.
I'm saying the conclusion is you don't have a lawful right to
Okay.
enter.
So, and if we thought we did and we attempted to exercise that right, are you saying that our lawful conclusion would be that we would be cited for trespassing?
I'm saying that you cannot enter the premises.
But you would be saying that we would be prosecuted if we did so.
If the festival signs a citizen's complaint,
And would you sign a citizen's complaint in that case? So if they sign a citizen's complaint, would you guys go ahead and enforce it and then exercise a prosecution against us?
I don't do the prosecution, but I believe that would happen.
Okay,
yes.
that's all we need to know. Thank you very much, Mr. Harrington.
Nice talking.
You have a
to you.
good evening.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and take my refund for now, though of course I'm
I
not
will.
satisfied. I really wanted to see the Ava club.
I understand
I hear
that.
they're actually pretty good.
They're great from the park as well. I mean,
Okay, I appreciate that.
I will
Thank you.
escort you over there, and we'll get you guys refunds.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
you
appreciate
bet.
it. I appreciate your cooperation.
And seriously, I appreciate your time.
If you guys want to follow me, I'll take you over.
So you can that's going to be the conclusion of the matter. So looks like we'll have to get our refund because I'm not going to go into a concert. Oh, just 2 ticketed. 2 ticketed, yeah. So, yeah, it looks like they're going to stick to their ban on firearms at the city park. So, neither Jeff or I would feel comfortable going to a concert without, you know, employing tools to guarantee our security. And so we're going to go ahead and take our leave of the venue. And
this is unfortunate.
I know it's a little uncomfortable having these conversations.
Yeah. And we have God-given rights, and we need to encourage people to respect those rights, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah. I think the key that we want to impart to people, and you know, Ben Olson interviewed me earlier, and I don't think he really believes this, that I think there are fundamentally opposing worldviews at work here, that there is a fundamental opposing worldview that the citizens can lawfully carry a particular tool like a first aid kit, and that it's a benefit to society. It's not law-abiding citizens that go into Walmart and murder other people. It's not law-abiding citizens that go to concerts and murder other people. It's actually law-abiding trained citizens that would be your first responders in those situations.
In fact, the statistics read that approaching 1 million times a year that guns are used to prevent crime, save life, and save destruction or theft of property. So that's very important as far as a public service, that people carry guns because they can protect themselves and others should the need arise. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of theft. That's a lot of potential death that's prevented because some people carry guns. If you don't feel comfortable carrying a gun, don't carry a gun.
Yeah. And that's actually what something Ben Olson asked me, is if we think everybody should carry a gun. And no, I don't think everybody should carry a gun. I don't think you should do anything that you're not comfortable doing and that you're not trained to do. And so I'd recommend that you only do things that you... That's just the whole idea of liberty and individual liberty, is you have the liberty to carry a firearm or the liberty to not carry a firearm, and we're not going to impose our views on everybody else. And we don't want them to impose their views on us, because the law of the land right now is the Constitution. You heard me explain to Mr. Harrington or Festival Security, this is a constitutional republic, and so we cannot make up policy. I use this term ipse dixit. I hope I'm using it right, but it's basically just saying that a law is a law when there's no basis in that fact. And Mr. Harrington of the city is correct that we apparently may not have any case law. I cited a case, I'll put it up maybe in the comments, that there is case law related to the First Amendment, and I got to imagine if there's case law related to the First Amendment in a public park.
So the question the city attorneys and the festival organizers would have to ask themselves is, if they're comfortable with violating this God-given constitutionally protected right, what other rights would they also be willing to ignore or to violate? And that's a question worth asking.
Yeah, and this is what Ben Olson asked me too. He's like, why do you push on this? Well, I push on this because we have laws for a reason, and if we don't enforce the law, then we have lawlessness. And ultimately, God is the dictator of law. And the interesting thing, when we say we have an unalienable right to secure safety, this is not a right that our government granted us. We just happen to live in a state that's a pretty good state that still says, yeah, the citizens have a right to carry firearms. We have a right to concealed carry. This is a God-given right. The right actually is in place not because of our right to hunt, and this is the other thing, right? It's our right to ensure our safety against... That's mine.
That's you?
Yeah.
You should get an email right now that is being refunded.
Okay.
They have to go back and do it.
Okay. Yeah.
You should get the email saying that they've been refunded.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, thanks. Yep. Appreciate it.
Have a good day, sir.
Still want to get an answer from you. Law. Okay, hold on. I gotta go off. Bye.